Not sure which night this is on the Jordan 2008 cab, but this with more decanting, which I've been decanting it for a bit here now. This is amazing. I don't even have a clue what the 2008 vintage is in California or Napa. Don't really care. Like I said earlier, 2003 to 2018, it's been two amazing vintages because there's no bad vintages out in Napa. The weather's near perfect for grape growing. This wine is showing so much depth and so many layers, it's unbelievable. If this is what 13-year Napa tastes like, either I got to go seek out more, or I got to really buy some in this $50 to $60 range and just let it rest. And then just come to it and then drink it over 2 or 3 nights. So, one of my favorite winemakers is Sean Thackeray. And I think I've spoken about him before, but he makes wines in an ancient tradition, where he has the largest collection of ancient winemaking techniques, like books and documents. I don't know about in the world, but whatever. He has a lot of them. And I think specifically he said when you open one of his wines up, his real wines, not his Pleiades, which is sort of a crazy blend of stuff you would never blend together, but he does anyway because he's just eccentric. But as anything besides that wine, and mostly the reds I'm talking about here, and mostly I'm talking about his Cab Franc, he's made a Cab Sauv, but mostly he makes Petit Syrah and his Syrah Orion. He says open it up, decant it, and leave the decanter overnight, and drink it over 2 nights. Just decant it, just sitting there. Because the wine will evolve. It'll evolve just like that. Most wines will over-oxidize and not taste good after that much time. I feel like this wine would... This reminds me of sort of what Sean Thackeray talked about. Of just let the wine express itself. Let all that oxygen come to it and let it open up the wine. The layers of flavors is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Slight interruption, but having this with probably my favorite cheese, Prima Donna, blend of Parmesan and Gouda. It's like I don't like licorice, which is so crazy to say this, but in a wine, I absolutely love when I get a taste of like lavender, licorice, scorched earth. There's certain tastes and aromas when I get in a red wine that I absolutely love. And this has sort of like a melted licorice taste. But it's awesome. This one's awesome. I've had Jordan a number of times, and I never held it to the highest esteem. This 2008, I think with all the years of age, I think it's just what the evolution of wine is. Really good wine. Wine is living and breathing constantly in that bottle. You lay it down, you let it soften. There's this thing called a dumb phase, which I'm not that. I understand it. They claim a wine can close down, and then you open it and it doesn't taste like much on the nose, the bouquet, or the palate. And they believe that there's some number of years it needs to get out of that dumb phase. I don't know. I can't say that I know how to predict that, or even how to ascertain that a wine's in a dumb phase. I might just say, this wine's not showing me anything. And then I'll decant it for a number of hours and see. I decanted that Greek wine for hours, and I read on Vivino, some people wrote how it was great, but a lot of the reviews were on par with mine. One guy even just wrote just very, very simple. And it's a $32 Greek red wine, which is not... It's not expensive when it comes to Napa, but is more money when it comes to a Greek red. But anyway, I gave it its due diligence. It just didn't work out. And I couldn't drink it, and I dumped it. There was no enjoyment in that wine. Give it 3 chances, and that was it. 3 strikes, and you're out. This is sort of opening my eyes up. I've always aged my Bordeaux's, my Italian wines, my Spanish wines that are from Rioja or from Toro or some other regions, Priorat. I feel like I don't age, well, I don't have a ton of Napa. I've kind of gravitated away from Napa and Sonoma, not because I don't like it. I absolutely love it, except that it's just a higher price point, an entrance. You got to pay more for it. Your fee to get in the door is a lot higher than in other parts of the world, I believe. And that's just from my personal experience and just tasting thousands upon thousands of wines. Now, this wine in 2000 probably came out in 2010. This is a 2008 vintage, probably came out 2010. 11 years ago, almost 12 years ago. I'd say it was $40. Expensive wine back then. Even now, $40. Expensive wine. People will spend $50,000 on a car, but they won't spend $50 on a wine. I most certainly get more enjoyment out of the food and wine than I do of going from point A to point B. But to each their own. This wine is awesome. It showed us, there's a ton of sediment, and I didn't talk about that. There was a lot of sediment in that bottle. And you typically see it a lot in Italian, and most definitely Bordeaux. Almost at every price point. If you're 20 or above, 25 bucks or above, Bordeaux always throws sediment. It's always a good sign of quality. You just got to be careful when you're finishing the pour, that you don't put all that sediment in there. You don't want to really be drinking all of that. A little bit's fine, but you don't want all of it if it's supposed to be chunky or anything. But even, this wine's not super clear because of some of the sediment and the aging on it. But I will most definitely, this will make me want to try another Jordan, because I haven't had a Jordan in a while. It's the first Jordan I've had in many, many years, and certainly enjoying it a lot, and enjoying the Obsidian and the Chapelet Mountain Cuvée and that Leviathan and the Récoltant. So these are those wines in $30 that I absolutely love. And then I talk about the Chapelet and the Frog's Leap and all these other wines out of California that are just awesome. I don't really do Silver Oak. I think Silver Oak's fine. A little one-dimensional for me, very fruit-forward, but very expensive. I don't believe that you get a lot of layers for the price of Silver Oak. That's just one example. I don't think it's bad. I think it's great. I think Silver Oak Napa is a great wine. Gotta be over $125 now. Stag's Leap. I used to love Artemis, Fay Estate, SLV, Cask 23. I've had them all. Fay Estate used to be my favorite. It was about 60 or 70 bucks. I remember having a tasting note, and I just wrote Silk, and it was unbelievable. And it was a 2003, I think. But, and if that's it, I'd almost be impressed with myself, because I don't always remember wines that well, but that Fay Estate was something to remember. That $60, $70 bottle now is $150. I could buy a lot of different things, or multiples of something that I absolutely love. 3 Chapelets almost. So, just wanted to share that with this wine. A little bit left. I'll definitely miss this wine when it is gone, but it makes me change a little bit of some methodology I have with what I'm going to do with some of these Napa and Sonoma type cabs. So you can find something with a little bit of age on it, or just actually lace them down and just let them express themselves. It's not just Bordeaux that ages gracefully and has all these tertiary flavors that really come out and absolutely shine. And some of that overly unctuous, gobby fruit that might be there initially has turned into some other layers and other complexities that make it extremely flavorful and extremely enjoyable. at least for somebody like me. But it does require a lot of patience. So that's the follow-up for today, because this wine is just singing tonight. And that's it.